Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog, or some people call it Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to tackle through the 3 trials of Soliana, even though, despite the fact that I did manage to accomplish those no problem. But then again, with the first impressions of those missions, it's pretty bad. Mainly because of luck-based elements, and also some frustrating elements, and on top of that, it was pathetically easy to able to get an S rank from. So, as a result, yeah, that's what I can say about it. Oh yeah, in addition to that, we also somehow bump into Silver the Hedgehog after realizing about the fact that he's now on the good side, so he's no longer gonna try to kill Sonic. So relatively speaking, I was about the fact that we'll find out some more details about Silver the Hedgehog once we get to Silver's story campaign, and as a result, we somehow traverse into Kingdom Valley, which not only is one of the longest levels in the game, but is also one of the toughest levels in the game, mainly due to the forms of marked speed sections here and there. But honestly, it doesn't give me that much trouble though, just because I don't utilize the Lightspeed Dash ability, so that way I can able to be perfectly safe. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually say about that either. And relatively speaking though, we also did manage to able to tackle through some of these town missions, including with the forms of collecting some rings, going through rings, destroy a bunch of enemies, and on top of that, we've raced against with a faker, Sonic Man, of all things. Even though despite the fact that, well, relatively speaking, it's almost like a Sonic cosplay outfit or something like that. So, I suppose that one of the random townspeople was actually a massive fan of Sonic himself. But either way though, that's as far as I can think about it either. And finally, most notably, is about the fact that we somehow managed to able to brought not only 1, but 3 more gems, which we were expecting to able to try to get the 4th and final one. Well, to be more specifically, the 7th and the final gem of this particular item purchases. However though, that can wait until for later. So because of that, we've learned the ability so we can able to utilize not only the yellow electric shield, which allows you to able to track rings to you, and actually creates as a shield. So as a result, we've somehow got the yellow gem, and on top of that, with the forms of the sky gem, which actually acts out as the hook shot. And as far as the white gem is concerned, well, then again, we'll show that in action once we get into the final stage in Sonic's story. So because of that though, that might actually be the reason for it. So either way, today for this video is about the fact that we're most able to say this right now, we can able to finishing up everything for the sake of Sonic's story, and because of that, we are now approaching onto the final stage in Sonic's story. And in order to able to get to this point, is that as you can see, there are 3 different bells that we have to ring. However though, as you can tell, I accidentally fell into the water, mainly because of this hook shot to sometimes manage to screw me up, whilst other times though is about the fact that you have to wait until when the actual target lands on its target. So as a result, sometimes it can be felt a bit, I don't know, recklessness I guess. So yeah, basically all I have to do in this part right there is about the fact that we need to homing attack into not 1, but 3 bells on top of each tower. And as a result, once you're done with that, you know what that particular gate is being blocked off right there in Journey Forms of this part right here? That pretty much leads us to the final stage in Sonic's story. Well, that's essentially what we're gonna do, is that we need to able to homing attack onto 3 bells, and then once you're done with that, then obviously you will be good to go, and you should be able to try to actually access the final stage in Sonic's story. So, next potentially, relatively speaking though, we're able to rescue Princess Elise for reals this time I guess. So, yeah, what a great story. I mean, it's such a boring story. They managed to repeat the same set pieces over and over and over again. Not just when the Princess Elise gets captured, but Sonic just somehow takes Princess Elise into a big open field and cue the CG cutscene, and that happens twice. And relatively speaking, I was about the fact that, well, there is technically the 3rd time, which as a result, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, and then Dr. Eggman just somehow managed to explain the Conquer the World to Elise twice. Like, no, I'm not even joking for this point. He doesn't give us new information. He literally just drag out the story while explaining things twice. During the forms of after we finish up with the forms of White Acropolis level, and as soon as we finish up after the Tails' version of Wave Ocean, which as a result, yeah, did they honestly read the script? I mean, jeez. But either way, let's just go and homing attack onto the final bell, and then afterwards though, I think it's probably best if we're able to actually save the game afterwards though, just in case if you don't save your game, obviously you have to go ahead and try to ring the bells again. So either way, I'm pretty sure all these bells have been rang, so either way, there it is, the final stage in Sonic's story, and as it turns out, we're going into some sort of like a base facility. So either way though, let's just save the game before anything else happens. So, and just what I'm showing you right now is about the fact that, relatively speaking though, is about the fact that, as far as I'm aware, that today's date, of course, is the 23rd of February today, in some cases in 2024 today, so I suppose we've only got about 1 week left until we've decided able to approach onto the next month, which appears to be March. So, yeah, time flies, doesn't it? Anyways, here we go, into Aquatic Base. So as a result, it looks like we're about to stop the egg carrier's launch. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and grab the Soliana Silver Medal right from the get-go, by the way. Although you don't have to necessarily try to get every single Soliana medals, like the Silver Medals for instance, aside from the achievement on the Xbox 360 version. So, anyways, as I said this before, the electric shield actually allows you to able to get some rings attracted to you, which is always very helpful. And relatively speaking, I was about the fact that it will be pretty useful, especially if you really want to keep a hold of your rings bonus during that specific period. And relatively speaking, that's as far as we can able to say about the forms of the yellow gem itself. So, anyways though, so there are a few things I want to explain for this point today, is that generally speaking though, yes, we have seen the forms of the most recent partner showcase for the Nintendo Direct just recently for about 2 days ago, and for my final thoughts of this particular Direct though, it's not that good. I will say this right now about the fact that I'm still not a big fan of the forms of the partner showcase type of Directs, and let me tell you exactly. Well, that's just mainly because of loss of hype, which as a result, don't get me wrong, there are some interesting stuff that's been happening during the course of the forms of this particular recent Nintendo Direct, which I'll talk more about that in a moment. So in some cases though, let's just go and deal with some more robots here, and I suppose we should probably show off the white gem. And as you can see, it actually creates a different animation for the sake of the forms of the homing attack chain. So that seems interesting, because it was originally trying to implement that during the forms of it back in the day in E3 2006. So as a result, they've decided able to change it into a bit of a delayed homing attack animation. So as a result, it did somehow convert that particular very reflexible animation into the forms of one of those gem powers. So no idea what's up with that. So anyway, so in this part right here is about the fact that we need to guide Sonic with this little silver metallic ball, and basically we have to dodge the lasers, because if you touch the lasers while you're on the ball will disintegrate and you fall off into a bottomless pit, and you have to start this particular section again. So yeah, you have to be patient and not to rush this too much, because otherwise if you rush it too much, obviously you will die so many times. So, and I get the strong feeling about the fact that in this particular stage right here, we can actually able to take control of not only Sonic, but also Tails and Knuckles as well. So it almost kind of reminds me like a Sonic Heroes kind of vibes to it, or even Sonic the Hedgehog 2 vibes as in a movie. So, spoiler alert for those who have not seen the film yet, which, sure enough, though, is about the fact that, well, still, I'm just really looking forward to the third Sonic movie, as you probably already expect at this point. So, anyways though, so let's get into the forms of the most important aspect about the forms of today's topic, and as of course, certain announcements they did bring for the most recent partner showcase Nintendo Direct. And I thought it was a little bit amusing about the fact that they no longer says Nintendo Direct Mini this time around, so I guess that's a good thing. But on the other hand though, there are some good parts here and there, and then there are some parts I'm not a big fan of. Like for instance, no matter what though, I get the feeling there is no sign of the forms of the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Paris 2024 Olympic Games. I'm guessing it's probably because of the sales units have something to do with that, or perhaps even maybe the lack of game sales for the likes of Tokyo 2020 installment, or perhaps maybe it's something else entirely. Well, I don't know about you, because potentially speaking though, it's been a very long time since we actually mentioned something relates to specific announcements during the forms of the Nintendo Direct alike. So, But I suppose no matter what though, we should probably get on to the forms of the actual announcement, shall we? The first game they did announce was actually belongs to the forms of the Xbox Game Studios, because as a result, there are certain Xbox games is now coming over to the Nintendo Switch. So, pretty interesting at the very least. So, anyway, so the first game they did announce, which appears to be Grounded, and that's going to be coming onto the Nintendo Switch platform, and as a result, it's going to be releasing until April 16th in this year in 2024. So, nothing else to say about that, I guess. Even though it's actually kind of interesting about the fact that you play as those tiny-sized versions of your player characters while you're traversing into, like, a one large world. Something very similar to the forms of not only A Bug's Life, but also with the forms of Ants, and the Ant-Bully, I think it's what it says anyway, despite the fact that it's been a very long time since I actually known something like this. So anyways, I might as well skip this part right there, because obviously with the forms of the Sky Gem, it just allows me to able to skip this part, because I will admit though right away, whenever I first got to this point, whenever I played this on the Xbox 360 version, my god, I keep on dying so many times on that particular spot, mainly because of this very wonky homing attack chain, and on top of that, you have to rely on the forms of that stupid homing attack delay, and relatively speaking though, it's just actually not that pleasant for me. So, anyways, thankfully though, this particular stage does have 2 loading screens at the very least, so you don't need to worry about the forms of the Mark Speed sections anymore, until for now anyway, because there are some DLC I want to show off, so... But either way, the next game they did revealed, which appears to be by the forms of Ender Magnolor, and that subtitles usually calls it Bloom in the West, and that's going to be releasing at some point in this year in 2024. Nothing special from my book, so I'm not predictably that interested. And the next game they did revealed, which is actually by the forms of Arranger, a whole puzzle adventure, or a role puzzling adventure, I should say. That game is about to be releasing at some point in summer 2024, around the same time as, potentially speaking though, for Luigi's Mansion 2 HD or something. And after that though, they've shown us some more gameplay footage of Unicorn Overlord. So despite the fact that we haven't got that long until that particular game decides to come out. So yeah, nothing too special about it for me either way. Although, apart from the fact that recently the demo version just somehow came out just recently for Unicorn Overlord. So, that's something I suppose, for those of you who want to try that game out. And then, out of nowhere, it looks like we're about to be getting a yet another 3DS remaster, except this time what appears to be by the forms of Monster Hunter Stories. So, I mean, it could be something more related to the fact that we've already got Monster Hunter Stories 2 on the Switch, so now we can able to expect to get the first game in Journey forms as a remastered version of the game, but on a Nintendo Switch system. So it makes sense, I guess, especially considering for the fact I'm sure about the fact that for those of you who haven't missed out on Monster Hunter Stories on the 3DS, well, that might be a perfect opportunity about the fact that that particular remastered version of the game is now coming onto the Nintendo Switch sometime in summer 2024. So, yeah, I guess it's that. The next game after that, though, it actually surprised me, and as a result, we're about to be getting a full-on remake of Disney's Epic Mickey, of all things. So, yeah, it's been an awfully long time since we've last heard about the forms of Epic Mickey series, ever since in, let's say, in both Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, and also Power of Illusion as well. So generally speaking, it was about the fact that it's been like, oh, I don't know, 12 years ago since we last got something related to Epic Mickey, since, you know, both of those previous games, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, as well as Power of Illusion, mainly because no matter what though, back in the day, that the second game does not sell very well because of the forms of multi-platforms release, and on top of that, it feels a little bit more, I don't know, basic and simplistic version of the first game. So, I can understand why that the first game did somehow finally deserves a remake, especially considering for the fact that at least thankfully, if I decide to get that version at some point, then thank God I don't have to worry about trying to utilize with this nunchuck problem from my Wii Remote connection, because most of the time, whenever I decide to play 3D games on my Nintendo Wii, for the love of God, my nunchuck just sometimes feels a bit, little bit glitchy sometimes, which I'm not exactly sure it's probably because of its age, or perhaps even maybe because of how the fact that my connection is not even good properly enough. Well, as a result, it is nice about the fact that Epic Mickey is now going to be on the Nintendo Switch at the very least. So, now I'm pretty sure it's going to be most likely focuses on the first game remake. So, as a result, it just somehow calls it Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. So, I get it because of how the fact it's a remake after all. And out of nowhere, do you guys even remember that in Journey Forms have been the SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, alongside with the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake? Well, as it turns out, the actual developers, for the sake of the forms of not only for the developer, but also for a publisher as well, that out of nowhere, THQ is actually involved in this time around, alongside with the forms of Purple Lamp Studios. So that honestly caught me off guard. So yeah, I'm a little bit optimistic, and hopefully I'll give that particular game a third chance, but this time on the forms of a different platform, specifically for the Nintendo Switch. So, and as far as I'm aware, the release date for that game is going to be due out at some point in 2024. Around, I have no idea when exactly, just like the forms of how it does it on Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door Remake. It seems about the fact that the actual release date exactly does not get confirmed just yet. So, but we shall see, enjoying at some point later on throughout the year in 2024. So, at the very least, I'm a little bit more optimistic, especially concerning for the fact that, now for what I've heard, that that game will run in 60 frames per second this time around though, which I've always appreciated. So anyway, so that pretty much takes care of Aquatic Base.
Thrust increasing, engine output at maximum. Course plotted. Gate open. Lifting off.
Okay, so now we can able to rescue Princess Elise for reals this time.
Why is this happening? No! Playtime's over.
Sonic!
This ship is about to crash. Too bad, Eggman. I'm not finished yet.
But before we rescue Princess Elise for reals, we have to take care of this final boss in Sonic's story. So,
you keep getting in my way, you pesky little hedgehog. Very well. I'll take you out myself.
okay then, Eggman, bring it on. In Journey Forms of the Egg Wyvern. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting design for this boss, but either way, let's go ahead and deal with Eggman once and for all, before he's able to actually save the day. So, anyways, as far as I was able to expect to continue mentioning about the forms of some more announcements they did bring, the next thing they did bring up is the forms of, let's just say, a story expansion to the forms of the Shin Megami Tensei 5, and this time what appears to be by the forms of Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. So, yeah, kind of an interesting announcement there, which I was pretty much expecting that was going to be a real thing. And they did also confirm the release date for it. That's going to be releasing until the 21st of June in 2024. So that's going to be on Friday, presumably speaking. So, actually, before we get into more details about the forms of other announcements right here, as you can tell about the fact that with Egg Wyvern boss fight, it's like a cross between the Exobrus, where once again you're guiding the robot and grabbing onto its horn. However, it's actually far more annoying here because you're guiding him to falling debris, things that won't be there forever. So if you don't reach a debris in time, it will fall and eventually Eggman will shake you off. Like, sometimes it's not really a problem, but for what I've seen some playthroughs of this game, I felt incredibly bad for some people who have never hit the darn thing. It made the entire boss fight super lame to play. But anyway, again, it's a cross between the Exobrus and the Egg Viper from Sonic Adventure. Why? well, after a couple of hits, as you can tell, Eggman decides to able to destroy certain platforms, and as far as I'm aware, as soon as he's close to dying, I believe he does this little desperation move, and then he's trying to kill you one last time. So, and the only major issue with this boss fight right here is, once again, the camera. So obviously, sometimes it just goes into automatic camera to manual aiming, so as a result, yeah, nothing else to say about this boss fight. It's definitely a little bit annoying, which is especially noticeable with this stupid falling debris that sometimes, I will admit though, the hit detection is a little bit off. Like, sometimes it can either deals the damage, whilst other times it just went through it. So because of that though, yeah, relatively not a great fight to end things off. But usually, relatively speaking though, sometimes it can really drag on a bit. So anyways, so the next thing they did announce, and is surprisingly enough, we're about to be getting yet another compilation classic game, except this time what appears to be Star Wars Battlefront. Specifically, the original counterparts of Star Wars Battlefront duology games. So, which, relatively speaking, is going to call it Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. That's going to be drew out at some point until next month, specifically the 14th of March in 2024. So that'll be a good opportunity to able to experience the good old classic version of that particular Star Wars Battlefront games, not the actual modern versions with all their stupid microtransactions as well as some screw-up mechanics. So yeah, you get the idea of what I was going to be talking about. So, and the next game after that, which appears to be by the forms of some more gameplay footage of South Park Snow Day, and that's also going to be confirmed until on the 26th of March in 2024. Keep this in mind though, I'm only looking upon the forms of certain release dates based on the UK version, which I only know for a fact that the North American version and maybe sometimes the Japanese version does have some bit of different release dates in between. So anyways, here we go on to this next segment right here. As you can see, sometimes Eggman will able to bring out specific little arms or something like that, which allows you to get the benefit of the doubt or this little opportunity to able to homing attack into those two, or either those two right here, and then you can able to homing attack into Eggman himself, which, as a result, if you're about to hear Eggman's line like, think you can make it here, and then as a result it's your chance to able to homing attack into one of those weird arm-canned arms. So as a result, yeah, nothing else to say about it, but you have to be very careful most of your time with all this delayed homing attack, as well as the forms of this particular depth perception, because if you mash the buttons too quick, obviously you will fall off and die, and you have to restart the entire fight all over again. So, not that fun for what I've noticed. So, either way, so it looks like he's almost down. It's just about the fact that, oh yeah, every once in a while it's about the fact that whenever when Wyvern decides to able to fly around the arena, sometimes though you can't really see the actual lasers is actually coming from the distance, and you have to make sure you have to able to maneuver the camera around. So just in case you can able to be perfectly safe, and luckily we still managed to equip ourselves the yellow gem, just in case for extra protection for the sake of the forms of certain hazards are coming. So, and also ever since in the Egg Genesis, basically though is about the fact that we need to dodge this little laser beam right here, and just to ensure you'll be safe as well. So anyways, let's go and oh jeez, that's the longest distance ahead. But thankfully though, we somehow hit him, and jeez, there's a lot of lag going on. But relatively speaking though, he's now on to the last hit, so this means it's time for the desperation move. So, and as it turns out, he's going to be shooting those two little dart missiles to able to get rid of the last two platforms, and exponentially we've already now stunned on one platform left. So, otherwise, standard boss fight, despite the fact that it's actually very annoying with this particular falling debris segment. So, but either way, I would have liked to explain something else for this point right here, but I think it's probably best if we save up the rest of the discussion until whenever we get to the credits, because, well, after this one last hit, Eggman is basically finished. So, eat that, Eggman, eat that. So yeah, we won't be seeing your hideous design again, at least for now anyway. Okay, that bit right there was actually kind of funny. So, and of course, unlike the Xbox 360 version, there was no trophies on this particular portion right here. So, oh well, what really matters though is about the fact that Sonic's story is basically done. At least for a little while, because obviously, after we've achieved the glorious S rank, it seems that we're actually doing pretty well in regards to the forms of getting certain S ranks, and I was 1,000 rings away, so I can able to get myself my final upgrade for Sonic, usually the purple gem. However, here's a catch though, I might go back onto Sonic's story for a bit, and maybe we can able to do one last town mission, so just in case I can able to get enough rings, so that way I can buy myself the final gem, and yeah, nothing else to say about it. So enjoy the ending to Sonic's story.
Sonic!
Aren't you worried?
If you have time to worry, then none, right?
Nice smile.
And yeah, that's as far as I can some Sonic content on that game. We're not exactly 100% sure though, because relatively speaking, the game I'm referring to as Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. I'm not gonna say, I was very surprised that game has been announced, especially concerning that at this point in time, that we're about to be getting not one, not two, but three Super Monkey Ball games total so far. Like, as a result, the first one was obviously Banana Blitz HD back in 2019, the second being in 2021, which appears to be Banana Mania, and now in 2024, we're about to be getting Banana Rumble. And for what I've noticed, it's about the fact that it plays pretty much like the forms of the previous two Super Monkey Ball games, I'm pretty sure, for modern hardware. So, relatively speaking, I have no complaints there. Although, apart from the fact that for one thing in mind, it does have some very interesting features. Like, for instance, they've now decided to bring multiplayer aspects throughout the majority of the main game itself. Like, ranging from 4-player co-op, and on top of that, for the first time ever, you can now participate on any other stages online. So as a result, you can able to bring in like 16 players. Geez, 16 players in a Super Monkey Ball game, which I will say, it seems pretty promising and stuff like that. Then as I said before, it's going to be exclusive to Nintendo Switch, so good thing if I decide to play the game online, then obviously a good thing I somehow got the Nintendo Switch subscription for it, for Nintendo Switch Online, so I can at least able to try that out. And exponentially speaking though, it's about to come out until 25th of June in 2024, which I think conveniently enough, I might try and able to pre-order that just before I decide to take a break on uploading some things for it. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, not only because of how the fact there's a brand new game since after 10 years ago, since on the PlayStation Vita, Super Monkey Ball Banana Split, but it's also about the fact that you do realize that the art style looks a bit different this time around, which it does take me a bit of some time to get used to, but as a result, I'm still pretty much hyped for it, and thank goodness it's not multi-platform this time around, unlike Banana Blitz HD, alongside with Banana Mania, because like I said before, it's going to be Nintendo Switch exclusive. So because of that though, here's what I don't get about the fact that with most of those Super Monkey Ball games back in the day, like for example, Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll, that game was exclusive onto the Wii, which because of the forms of the Wii balance board peripheral, and not only that, with Super Monkey Ball 3D was a 3DS exclusive because of the 3D aspect. And aside from all that stuff though, it's been a very long time since we've got a Nintendo exclusive Super Monkey Ball game since Super Monkey Ball 3D for the 3DS. So, at least that's something, I suppose. Oh, before I get into more details about that, on the other hand, as you can tell from that theme in the background, as you can tell from that particular, well, that particular song in the background was actually his world. So that's something worth noting for, and I think we're about to hear that for about approximately 4 times. Like, we're hearing one right now in the actual Sonic Stories credit sequence, and eventually at some point in the later stories to come, then you get the idea for this point. So, anyways though, the next game they did reveal, which appears to be a sequel to World of Gyu, which as a result, the World of Gyu 2 is now going to be coming onto the Nintendo Switch. And the release date is also being confirmed, and that's going to be releasing until the 23rd of May in 2024. So yeah, nothing else to say about it, I guess. Next up appears to be by the forms of a release date update for the Sega Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Stole Time. And as a result, it's now been confirmed its new release date, and is about to be coming out at some point on October 10th in 2024. So that's going to be on Thursday sometime. And next up, they've mentioned about the forms of another game called Another Crab's Treasure, and that's going to be confirmed its release date as well, and that's going to be releasing until the 25th of April in 2024 as well. And conveniently enough, there's also some brief new updates on specific games are, confirmed for its release date. And usually, relatively speaking of, what I've noticed, there's a game called Penny's Big Breakaway. Apparently, that game has recently came out just recently. So because of that, though, it doesn't take that long to able to actually get that game to be released. And after that, though, they've shown us some more bits of random games that I don't even know about, and as a result, some stuff like multiplayer mode has now been added, and also, in addition to that, let's just say, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On is now being confirmed by Game Freak, which, as a result, I've got nothing to say. And after that, it was Pepper Grinder, and that's going to be confirmed its release date, and that's going to be releasing until 28th of March in 2024. And also, in addition to that, I think that particular game, as I mentioned earlier, Pocket Card Jockey Ride On, has recently been released just recently. So, and after that, it appears to be by the forms of Surf Kin Melody of Moonland Valley, I think is what it says anyway, as well as some little bits of snippets of certain games I don't even know about. And on top of that, there's also some bunch of games are coming thanks to Rare. So as a result, we're about to be getting one of them from the Nintendo 64, and quite a few of them from the likes of not only on the NES, and some of them from the Super Nintendo, and on top of that, I think that's as far as we can think about it. We were expecting about the fact that Perfect Dark could be on here, alongside with Banjo-Tooie, because those are the only Rare games that needs to be implemented, along with Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing. But nope, instead we're able to get ourselves a bit of a shuffleware kind of games like that. Like we're about to be getting Snake Rattle and Roll. Okay, interesting choice there. And in addition to that, RC Pro AM. And also, in addition to that, we're about to be getting Battletoads in Battle Maniacs. Okay, that's actually an interesting one. And also Killer Instinct, and lastly, Blast Cops. So, yeah, relatively speaking though, I believe there are 4 games are going to be on the standard version of the Nintendo Switch Online subscription services. And one of those games is going to be exclusive to Expansion Pack. So, Blast Corps is going to be one of them for the Expansion Pack. So, yeah, I suppose that's about it. And the final thing they did announce for that particular point of showcase presentation, and that's what appears to be a brand new Endless Ocean game, which appears to be Endless Ocean Luminous. And that game is about to be releasing until the 2nd of May in 2024. So, that's it. That's as far as I can say about the Monster Hunter Showcase, really. And for my thoughts of this, though, this is not a good Direct. That is not a great Direct at all, because I do have some less high expectations for it. Well, aside from the fact that there's only, like, 2 good things I was looking forward to, like bringing back Epic Mickey, for example, alongside with the brand new Super Monkey Ball game, but that is it. That's literally all there is to it. So, unfortunately though, similar to the forms of how it does it in 2020, that particular point of showcase is a massive, massive letdown. So as a result, nothing relates to Mario, nothing relates to Sonic, nothing relates to Pac-Man, and especially noticeable, there's no related to Mega Man. So, yeah, I think about the fact that I've almost gone to a mental breakdown at this point. So, yeah, I'm afraid to tell you that's as far as I can say. And as you can see, with that purple gem, as far as I somehow finally got, this allows me to able to become small, and as a result, it does remind me of Sonic CD a little bit. And on top of that, you can able to perform infinite amount of jumps, and yeah, that is the most broken ability in the entire game. So, I would have liked to see it more, but I suppose we should probably save that for later, specifically for DLC. So with that being said, that was it. Sonic's story has been officially been done. So with that said, we got the endings off here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Is that we're about to begin Shadow Story. So because of that though, things gets a little bit interesting from here. So yeah, I'll see you guys until on next Wednesday. Later fellas.